All right, just a couple other things coming out of a divisional weekend. Obviously, we saw the end of the Buccaneers season, but Baker Mayfield likely, I would say he's earned a contract in Tampa. Real quick, we obviously don't have to go long for him on this one. He'll be 29 in April. If you're the Buccaneers, how many years do you give Baker Mayfield, EJ?
You give him something similar to Geno Smith, a 3-year deal, max 3-year deal. $90 $100 million a year. If we get around 30 million a year, that'd be great. He probably won't ask for 40. I mean, whatever, but 2-3 years tops. Something similar to Geno Smith got in Seattle last year.
That's fair. Matt?
2 for 60.
Okay. Kyle?
For 60. Damn.
You're cheap, Matt.
That's more than I'd give him. Are you out of your mind? And where else is he going to go?
Considering what the market is for quarterbacks, though, I don't think that's
outlandish. Who else going to get? Those a question.
That's my point exactly. Let's be clear. I don't think he's going to do better anywhere else. And if he does, match it. I mean, like, listen, I'm going to, test the market, Baker. I dare you. Or sign this now. Gosh, if you offer more than 40 for 2 years, I think you're kind of out of your mind on this. Granted, if you want to put 60 on the contract, make that ish incentive based.
Yeah.
Keep it under 12 interceptions this year, and we'll have a conversation. The punchline's this, guys. 2 years is the right number. I'm with Matt. 3 is adorable, EJ. I think you could have him sign a 3-year contract, but let's make sure the cap hit is or the dead cap is accounted for in those first 2 years.
I do think the key here, though, is Mike Evans. He's a free agent this year. Where's he go?
That's a great point.
That's huge.
I mean, he had another good year. So, I mean, obviously, you got to be crazy if you're the Bucks not to, not to kind of find out what he wants, and if he is on the Baker bus does he want Baker Mayfield back in the room? Like as the season went on, I thought that the connection between those two got better. So yeah, maybe you keep the continuity there. I don't know.
I think you're selling that the wrong way, Jim. You say to Baker, "Oh, you like throwing balls to Mike Evans? Give us a discount, bitch."
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna have trouble if you don't keep Mike Evans in the room. I think 2-3 years tops. If you get a third year, it's got to be an option. You got to be able to get out of that.
Yeah.
If you keep him,
you have to have the option to get out after 1 if you need.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, certainly. It could result in not a great second year, but he's definitely earned his contract there. And he seems to be happy in Tampa Bay. So I mean, again, it's a business, but I would be kind of surprised if he doesn't just look to get re-signed there.
Well, at the risk of insulting the FSU fan, it's not necessarily what he deserves, but what's best for the product overall. And with that in mind, if the Bucks can get a hold of a better candidate, they probably should, especially in that division where if you get a good quarterback, you already have the best one in the division, by the way. If you can somehow improve on that, like if you could package, what's that?
I said at least for now. If Belichick gets the job in Atlanta, I think the moving on from the Heineke Ritter experiment is going to happen real fucking quick.
Right, but what quarterback wants to play for Bill Belichick right now?
I mean, with the weapons Atlanta has,
I would go to Atlanta to play with Belichick right now.
But and I appreciate that, Jim. What I'm saying is with what all that has transpired with Mac Jones, with Bailey Zappi, seeing how he treats the quarterback position, you do have reservations at the very least.
Possibly. I think the limitations on that offense versus what would be in Atlanta would be a change there. All right. 2 teams that exceeded expectation, made it to the playoffs, eliminated this weekend. We'll start in Houston. What should the expectations be for the Houston Texans next year? Matt, we'll start with you.
I mean, it's tough to say because it's not so much as them winning the division as the Jaguars losing it. And I think that there should be some form of bounce back from Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. So it's tough to say a replication of winning that conference, but they should at least expect a playoff berth with some growth. They have a lot of young talent on offense that's kind of trajecting upwards better. And of course, they have a stud defensive player as their head coach. So, he's going to get a lot out of whoever is on that side of the ball. So I would say playoffs, again, have to be the goal, at least as a wild card.
Playoffs?
Kyle, same thing to you. Expectations for Houston next year.
Yes, Jim Morrissey, playoffs have to be the expectation. And while I think it's very sweet, I would think it's very sweet that Matt gives props for the Jags to get back in the game. Two things are a factor. For one, look at Spot Rack real quick in their cap situation. It's about to be a real damn test, real damn fast. Second, and I would have said this long before my time with the Jaguar Report, bing, if you look at the cap I'm wearing. Also, you there, Michigan Homer, will also account for this. Trent Baalke, no, sir. We sat through your
turnaround
national championship special that had Michigan players
better than us. Nobody.
Listen, you son of a bitch. You leave America's grandpa out of this. All right. That's fighting dirty right there, sir. But with him in mind, particular to his son, sir, you may remember his most recent opponent internally. And I don't mean Shad Khan or even Tony Khan. The wrestling shows on Thursday nights on 3 Count Thursday. Bing! That's that for a plug, bitch. So with all that in mind,
that was good.
The real opponent I'm looking to is Trent Baalke. He's still in the building. For the Jags to maintain, like you're talking about, Matt, the first thing they have to actually do is address the O-line in the draft. But Kyle, they got Anton Harrison. You expect me to trust them for a second year? By the way, there's a number of O-line prospects that would have been excellent to beef up the interior that they passed on to get the likes of Brandon Strange and Tank Bigsby. No, not Tank Dell. That's the guy who was awesome in Houston that's going to get him back to the playoffs. I said Tank effing Bigsby. I'm right.
Who the hell is this?
My point exactly. I was right then when I hated that pick, and I've been proven right now. So, yeah, playoffs all day for Houston.
So not Clayton Bigsby? Okay.
Yeah, look, man, the Texans, by all
you get it?
I know, I completely get it. And it's particularly ironic from the black guy who does the best Trump impression I've ever heard.
I hate you.
Hey, Tim, in honor of EJ, can you please play the Cartman riff?
Well, fuck you, Kyle.
Yeah, no, I think a playoff expectation for the Texans is
playoffs
is completely accurate. I mean, you overachieved this year for sure, but now you know how to win. Like you know what it's like. You also know what it's like to lose in the second round. So get back there, build on what you did. You're gonna get some guys back. Hopefully you're gonna make some moves in the offseason to continue to improve that offense. Hopefully you can find a tight end that doesn't have brick hands. Yes, I'm talking about you, Dalton Schultz. Thank God,
boy,
Cowboy.
No disrespect to the Colts, who also had a very overachieving year.
Absolutely, and that's with Uncle Rico at quarterback, mind you. They're going to have their actual quarterback returning next year.
I'm looking good on AR, man. I like him.
Yeah, he had a great start. Made my brother look smarter than he ever has. I only say that because he's not here to defend himself. So, it's.
I loosely gave him the props by even bringing the Colts up.
Evil twin.
The that division. Besides Tennessee, there's going to be some competition there, but it's things are pointing up for Houston. And then the other team.
Oh, wait, I didn't go yet.
Oh, sorry, EJ, my bad.
You guys nailed it. What was that?
I said the Giants will still suck.
You damn yeah, probably. No, you guys all nailed it like Ron Jeremy, obviously. And here's the thing too. Also, you got a quarterback that's right now a top 10 guy, quite possibly a top 5 guy going next year. You see how we do our rankings next year. Your floor has not been risen. You got to at least make the wild card. At least make a wild card next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, the playoffs is definitely something you need to definitely do at least.
All right. On the other side, the Green Bay Packers, of course, a dominating round 1 win. And really, if you can complete a couple of interceptions in this game, it doesn't come down to a Brett Favre-like throw across the body or a Brock Purdy game-winning touchdown. the Green Bay Packers finished 9-8. Mid-season, I think a lot of us were kind of counting them out. They were flirting with bottom 5 territory, at least in my mind, at one point this season. They surge late. Jordan Love certainly looks to be to be the next potential great. I'm going to leave it at potential because it is just 1 year. Let's be fair. But potential great Green Bay Packers quarterback. Kyle, I'll start with you. What's the expectations for Green Bay next year?
So let's pump the brakes a touch on great. I know you said potential, but hold on. Now, granted, that being said, what we have is the makings of a game manager for a coach who's been hidden in the shadow of Jim's favorite quarterback, Quayron Rodgers. But the punchline's this: Quayron Charlie Rodgers. Excuse me, sir. Anyways,
Right.
It's Quayron Ayahuasca Rodgers to you.
Quayron Ayahuasca Charlie Rodgers. This is getting longer and longer. This is Tom Brady long. That's what EJ said. Anyways,
That's what she said.
but all that being said, I think what we're also seeing is Matt LaFleur being successful in a way. Get this: when you run what LaFleur calls, apparently the shit works. What? Listen, and I'll be the first to say it. I posed the question on this and the Student of the Game podcast, bing, about how much was Matt LaFleur flowering or not, or was it Aaron in question running the show and being the wild card and all that? Well, apparently it's a bit of column A and B, but to see him get as far as he would with Rodgers and running right into the buzzsaw that is the 49ers again. Listen.
Well, fuck you, Kyle.
I really think that the Lions playing with house money this year, they're going to be the most dangerous that they've been. I feel like there's some things that are going to get figured out. I feel like playing a first place schedule next year will slow them down and return the Packers to a chance to win a division. To, let's be honest, the Vikings and Bears are both still pretty damn hapless. All that in mind, I can bang my skull against the wall all I want. The Packers are going to compete for the North again. I'm confident in that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. EJ.
No, yeah, I think it should be the division should be where it should be at, the youngest team in the league. And Jordan Love showed some real promise late in the year. Yeah, I think they're going to be a pass. How long is this Lions core going to be together? Will they lose coaches as a result of how well they were this year? That could play a part. So I can see a little bit of a slight regression. Slight regression to the Lions next year. But I think the North title should be their goal next year.
All right, Matt, same to you.
I think it should be their goal. I don't know that they necessarily achieve that just because I think the Lions' friskiness will probably remain going into next season. But I do think that the playoff berth should be at least the bar that they're setting for themselves and make it back.
Yeah, the playoffs should be the lowest bar in Green Bay for sure. And depending what happens with Detroit, I think it's a 2-dog race.
Conference too.
Minnesota, they have a lot of questions. Quarterback, running back, aging, banged up defense. Like there's a lot of questions in Minnesota. Chicago, Lord only knows what they're doing. I mean, Eberflus is staying. I think they're going to be changing the offensive coordinator at least. It looks like Fields is going to stay, but if there's been the talk that if Belichick goes to Atlanta, that he's going to want Justin Fields there. That's been a rumor. Let's be fair on that one. So it's a 2-dog race in the North.
I don't hate that, honestly.
No, I because again, I mean, I don't think Justin Fields is the problem in Chicago. So like if you give him weapons, I don't think they have the greatest O-line in Atlanta. So you probably want to address a little bit of that. But he's got talent, he's got weapons there. So I don't think it's a terrible thing if that's where he ended up. But it ultimately in the North, as to the point of the Packers, it's a 2-dog race. Playoffs for sure. Possible division title should be your expectation.
I'll go off on the whole Jordan Love, Justin Fields conversation on a different show. That's going to come up, and I need to explain all that then.
That's fair. Yeah, that's and that's going to kind of be something once we get through the Super Bowl, and we wrap that up. We start our offseason program. Those are some of the kind of things that we can address. And as we get close,
it's not Justin Fields' talent that's the problem. That's the teaser I'll leave you.
Ooh, okay. I like being teased.
That's what she said.
So we will
That's what she
we
said.
will address those things at a later date.